So I just wanted to switch now into a fun little feature called Myths or Truths. So I'm going to give you some kind of short statements. I'd just like your opinion whether you think it's a myth or it's true, and maybe just tell me why you think it's a myth or it's a truth. So first one, sustainability is only for large corporations.
I like this. This is a fun game. I would say no. That's a myth. There's so much small organizations can do. Um, just down to their agility as well, to be able to make change quicker, not being pulled down, bogged down by all of the challenges that come with a large organization, being a quicker mover, being able to implement innovations faster is, I think, a key element. And then a second part of that, I appreciate you might want to, this is more of a quick fire one, but just as a second element, I would also say that with the rise of AI and how much AI is put to decarbonization challenges, looking at identifying the decarbonization levers, looking at making systems more efficient, etc. That is then available to smaller companies as well. All of a sudden, you don't need a huge department with lots of people working on this issue. You could be looking at quick wins and efficiencies realized through these tools.
Yeah. So smaller companies can focus on quick wins, use things like AI to identify the strategy. You can do a small project quickly and get quick wins. Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
that sounds
absolutely.
great. Okay, next one. Going green, being sustainable, it always costs more.
And that I say is also a myth because yes, it can require upfront investment, but it can then also bring in the savings and additional revenues. So I'd say that those who do it the smart way will find that it's a myth. Yeah.
Adding in sustainability practices will slow down production in a manufacturing business.
I'd say that's a myth as well, because certainly when things are adjusted, that requires that additional look into them, additional maintenance, additional elements. But the manufacturing process as a whole, by being more efficient, being leaner, should, in my mind, then be bringing a certain saving in terms of the time as well.
And again, you mentioned before, there could be some really quick, easy wins like switching off over the weekend that shouldn't make any difference, at all. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, next one. Consumers are willing to pay more for sustainably manufactured products.
That is a real question, because
it's a difficult one. Yeah.
It's a really difficult one because I would say that in so many ways we see more premium brands really working on the sustainability angle, and there's definitely a correlation between more premium, higher quality, and more sustainable. Having said that, there's also, if we're looking, we can't ignore the fact that if we're looking at the EV sales, they aren't where the forecasts have put them, say 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And the growth is there, but it's a more muted growth compared to forecasts. And that in a part is due to how much people are willing to pay for it. And so that's where I'm a little bit more cautious, and I'd say that they're not always willing to pay more for it. But that's where then those regulations come in, and that's where at the moment, the car companies who are facing these huge fines, they can be looking at either buying credits or paying fines or bringing down the cost of the price of those cars in order to boost sales.
I think you're saying that's probably a myth then, or at least that the strategy shouldn't be based on that assumption.
Yeah, no. That's it. We can't base a strategy on the assumption that, we'll just make it more sustainable. People will pay a price premium for it. That's not going to happen.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Sustainability is primarily about reducing emissions.
That is true only from a point of view of simplification. It's just a way of making it a little bit more digestible to people. But in actual reality, it is so much more than that. There's just a myriad of other elements, resource depletion, biodiversity. And then this is only in the E elements of ESG. And then there's the social and the governance. So, governance. So it's really much, much bigger. Yes. But
I guess it's an easy metric to focus on for now to get people aligned behind. You can't set 10 different goals and say we're working towards all these. Let's focus on one to get the ball rolling, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, great. This one's interesting because you've mentioned this a few times or something related to this. Achieving net zero is impossible without government intervention and incentives.
I think this is true. I think that's true because corporations are there to maximize profits. And so I think expecting them to then do something that's not necessarily in line with that, I just think that they need these incentives. And so by bringing in regulation, there's then a financial incentive, because that's the element that corporations understand, is the financial incentives. And as a result, if we are then able to bring in the financial incentives through regulations, then all of a sudden they'll make that work.
Okay, so do you see those as a kind of a temporary incentive to get to the point where the switch is made that are then tapered off?
Exactly. Once the transition is done, then it all aligns, and then from then on it's great. It all really comes down to those key transitions, and that energy transition, circular economy, and the changes are need to be done, and it then comes down to simple change management, but that's where incentives are needed. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right, great. Thank you. Last one then of these myths or truths. So recycling alone is enough to make a manufacturing process sustainable?
That's not true, because rather than just recycling, it really comes down to doing a full life cycle assessment and making sure that understanding where the hotspots are in terms of emissions. But when it comes to manufacturing, it's other than just recycling and other than just materials, it's also the emissions that are coming from all sorts of other activities, as well as a myriad of different things. PFAS, forever materials, release of those, treatment of those, water. Yes, all part of it.